Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is my NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series predictions for the 2023 Truck Series season. They have 23 races this season, starting at Daytona, ending at Phoenix. I've already done these for both the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. This is the final one of the three before all three of the series kick off at Daytona in February. So without any further ado, let's see who I have winning the first race of the season at Daytona. I've been Carson Hocevar, finally getting his first win. Hocevar has been very close past few seasons of getting wins. The most crushing one's probably Kansas last season, where he was leading, I believe, on the last lap, but he ran out of fuel and got passed by Jonathan Nemechek. He had a few other crushing defeats, such as Charlotte when he was leading. A caution came out late, got wrecked, lost that race. Finished also close to Ben Rhodes at Bristol Dirt last season in the Brian Clausen throwback. He's been close a lot of times, but he hasn't been able to get it done. I do believe he'll finally get it done at Daytona. He's run well at Daytona in both of his starts there. I believe he finished, I think it was 5th and 7th in his 2 Daytona starts, so stays out of trouble, stays up front. And I think he'll finally be able to put it all together and win the Daytona race. Next up at Vegas, I have Tanner Gray finally getting that first win. They're moving over to Tricon Garage, moving back to Toyota. I think they're going to kind of take over the KBM role. I think Tanner Gray is going to have a career season. He's always run well at the 1.5 tracks, which is really weird. Most times you'll get a guy who's like really good at short tracks or really good at super speedways or road courses. Tanner Gray is the king of the 1.5 mile racetracks. If you look at his career top 10s, most of them have come on like Kansas and Charlotte and Las Vegas and tracks like that. I remember he finished like 3rd at Kansas his rookie season, especially his rookie season. Almost all of his top 10s his rookie season are all on 1.5 tracks. I don't know what it is about him, but he's good at them, and I think he'll finally get that win at Las Vegas. Second race of the season, locking himself into the playoffs for the first time in his career. Third race of the season, I have Ben Rhodes winning at Atlanta. Ben Rhodes is probably one of the best Truck Series driver at this point, especially with Jonathan Nemechek moving up. I think it's probably Zane Smith and then Ben Rhodes. I'd probably say would be my second best. He's a pretty good super speed racer. I don't remember him ever being bad at it. Atlanta's normally a pretty fun race, especially it was last year. Corey Heim won that race. I think Ben will be able to just stay out front. He has a lot of teammates that he can work with, and I think he'll get that win. He won Daytona a few seasons ago, start off his championship winning season in 2021, and I think he'll get a win early in the season here at Atlanta. Next up to go to Coda, I have Zane Smith winning. The 38 trucks actually won both Truck Series races at Circuit of the Americas. They won with Todd Gilliland back in 2021 and Zane Smith back in 2022. Of course, last season was kind of a fluke win because the top 3 took each other out. In, I don't know what turn that is, but like the second hairpin turn, I would call it. All 3 of them took each other out. Zane Smith passed them all and won. But I think at that point, that was Zane's second win with them. I think that was right before Zane really was like, this was going to be a really great season. Because he had won kind of in a fluky way here. He had won Daytona. I think it was shortly after there when we really saw what the full potential of that 38 truck is. Now they just won't come off a championship. I think they're going to be super strong and will basically dominate Circuit of the Americas. Zane also is a very good road course racer. That is what we've learned over the past few seasons. Winning this race, and then he almost won Mid-Ohio. It was really just him and Parker Kligerman. They were the only 2 able to compete with each other in a very impressive race at Mid-Ohio last season. At Texas, I have Christian Eckes finally getting his second career win. He won at Vegas a few seasons ago. Eckes was really close to getting a few wins last season, including at Texas. I believe he was leading late. Caution came out, got passed by Friesen, finished second. I think that he will finally break through. The 19 truck has been so close with Derek Kraus. I think that Eckes is a better driver than Kraus. He'll be able to get it over that hump. Eckes has always run well at Texas. As I said, last season was a good race for him. Back in 2020, his rookie truck season, he was one of the only guys that could compete with Kyle Busch in the Truck Series that race. And I think that he'll be able to make it. He'll be able to get his second career win. I forgot to mention this from the start. I mentioned in my Xfinity one, I am not taking into account Cup guys. So maybe Kyle Busch runs this race. If he does, I don't care. I'm just going off of who I think will be the best finishing Truck Series regular. Not factoring in if like a Chase Elliott was running Daytona. Not factoring that. I'm not factoring in if like Jimmy Johnson was to run a race, something like that. Just truck guys, not necessarily full-time, but they already have to be confirmed for the Truck Series. And that's like the series they're earning points in. Next up is Bristol Dirt. I have Ben Rhodes winning. Ben has finished as the second and first at Bristol Dirt. He's a pretty good dirt racer, and I just think he'll be tough to beat again. Of course, won this race last season, his only win last season. So close to winning it back in 2021. Was second to Martin Truex Jr., which if there were no Cup guys in either races, he would easily have won both of them. I think he'll get his second win at Bristol Dirt and get a second win of the season and really kind of cement himself as one of the biggest championship contenders. Next up, we have Martinsville. I have Zane Smith winning. Zane won Martinsville back in 2021 with GMS Racing. It was the last one with GMS. The 38 trucks also always run really well at Martinsville. Todd Gillen actually probably should have won that race back in 2021 before he got wrecked. Zane also qualified on the pole for Martinsville back last spring, but then a bunch of Cup guys and Johnny Sauter would have passed him. I think he finished on 7th or 8th. I think he's more confident this year, as I said earlier. I think they'll be a little more aggressive. I think he'll be able to get that win and get his second win of the season. Next up is Kansas. I have Corey Heim winning. Corey Heim won at Kansas back in the ARCA Series in 2020, I think. Yeah, I believe it was 2020. It was last race of the season. He drove the 10. Corey's been a pretty good racer throughout. I think Corey is one of the better up-and-coming drivers. Of course, he's going to be racing in the 11 for Tricon. There's no pictures of it, so we're going to see his 51 car from last season, or truck from last season. I just think that Corey is going to be pretty competitive, and that Kansas attracted, he, I believe, finished second to a dominant Zane Smith last season. Actually, no, he ran really well at Kansas last season, but then he, I believe, had an issue late and fell back, way back, like probably mid-30s. But I do believe that he will not have an issue this year and win. Will be, I believe, his third career win. He had 2 wins last season. Next up, we have Darlington. I have Grant Enfinger winning it. Enfinger is another veteran driver in the Truck Series. I think he'll kind of stay out of trouble at Darlington. I believe he finished 3rd there last season, at least in the first race. He also has ran pretty well there his first season in 2020, the first time they went back. And I think that Grant is just a good enough driver. He's not someone, he rarely wrecks. He's pretty consistent. I think that's a big thing, as I said back in my Xfinity Series predictions. Darlington's a track you want to stay in contention for and not wreck yourself early. I think Grant's a great driver that won't do that, and he'll be able to get that win. Next up, we got North Wilkesboro. The Truck Series are returning to North Wilkesboro. I have Jayski winning. Ty's a great short track racer. I can't understate that. He got his first win was at Bristol. He should have won Richmond. I think he's won the Slinger Nationals at least once. Just a great short track racer. I think North Wilkesboro is going to suit him. I think he'll be able to get that first win of the season at North Wilkesboro, locking himself in the playoffs. At Charlotte, I have Tanner Gray winning again. As I said earlier, Tanner Gray loves 1.5 mile tracks. He always runs well there. I think that will continue on. I think the Tricon Garage trucks will be better than they were last season, when they were David Gilliland racing. I think they'll be closer to what KBM was last season. And I think he'll get his second win of the season, kind of cementing himself as one of the better competitors for the title again, for the first time in his career. At Worldwide Technology Raceway, I have Corey Heim winning. He won this race last season. He always seems to run well at the flatter tracks. Corey Heim is a very well-rounded driver, but he was really good at Gateway last season. Qualified on pole at a bunch of laps, won. I think he'll be able to do that again. Especially with a truck that I think, as I've said a few times now, I think basically Tricon is going to take over what KBM did last season, and it will basically be very similar to the same stuff. So I don't think a lot's going to change between, especially for Corey, who's coming from Kyle Busch Motorsports to Tricon. I think that he'll be able to continue that strong run and get a second win of the season. Next up, they go to Nashville. I have Zane Smith winning. Nashville's a track that we're going to probably get a new winner at for the first time. Unless Ryan Preece is back, we're guaranteed a new winner because Ryan Preece has won both the races. Zane finished second there last season. I believe he finished top 5 in 2021. Zane, of course, the truck that's won both races, which was the DGR, the David Gilliland Racing 17. Zane's essentially was a teammate of that truck before the Tricon Garage switched into moving back over to Toyota. I think this truck is probably closest to that 17 truck, and he'll be able to get that win. So that would be, I believe, his third win of the season. Next up, we go to Mid-Ohio, where I have Zane Smith winning yet again. As I said earlier, he had a great battle with Parker Kligerman for the win here at Mid-Ohio. This came up just short in that battle between the two of them. One of probably the best just one-on-one, mano-y-mano battles that I've ever seen in just in NASCAR in general. They both kept it clean. They were both aggressive. I think that without Parker there, though, I think Zane's just going to run away with it. They were really the only two that really had a good shot at it. And I think that, since without Parker, most likely, unless Parker does come down for a few races, I think he's planning on it. But who knows if Mid-Ohio is one of the races they'll do again. I think that Zane will be able to get that win. Next up, we got Pocono. I'm going to go with Stuart Friesen. I think that Friesen will have a good season. He won a race last season. He was very consistent last season as well. Made, I believe, the round of 8. Pocono's been a good track for him in his career. Nothing too impressive, but nothing bad either. I think he's finished top 10 past few seasons there. I feel like this is going to be a track that he's going to be good at. Toyotas are always good there. KBM's won, I think, the last 3 or 4. At least the last 3. With Chandler Smith last year, Jonathan Nemechek the year before that, and Brandon Jones the year before that. They've won at least the last 3. They won 2018 as well with Kyle Busch. They're pretty good at Pocono. The Toyotas are, at least, KBM specifically, but now with KBM gone, I think that Friesen will help get that win, keep the streak going for Toyota. And then at Richmond, for the final race before the playoffs start, I have Ty Majeski winning. Ty Majeski probably should have won Richmond. He led a ton of laps early, and then his car kind of faded late. He had a bad pit stop, and Chandler Smith ended up getting ahead and winning. But I think if it would have gone well for him, he would have easily won that race. As I said earlier, he's a great short track racer. I think that will really help and get his second win of the season. So for my regular season championship, I am going to go with Ty Majeski. I think Ty will be super consistent. I only have him getting 2 wins compared to the 4 or 5 that I had Zane Smith getting. We'll see on the next page when we look at the playoff rundown. But I think Ty's going to be super consistent. He's going to be in a Ford this year, so he's going to be just like Zane Smith was last year. Of course, they're moving over to Ford with Haley Deegan joining the team. I just think Ty's going to take another step up, and he'll be very competitive, and possibly be in contention for an Xfinity ride, and maybe even the 4 car if it's good enough. For my playoff grid, I have Zane Smith winning 4 races. Ty Majeski, of course, regular season champion, as we just saw, winning 2, along with Ben Rhodes, Corey Heim, Tanner Gray, and Tanner Gray. Then Carson Hocevar, Grant Enfinger, Christian Eckes, and Stuart Friesen all getting 1 win. And Matt Crafton finished not getting a win, but being consistent enough to make the playoffs. I think he'll be, just his experience will be able to push him above guys like Rajah Caruth, Nick Sanchez, Taylor Gray. I just think the experience will help him rise to the top against those guys and make the playoffs instead of them. For the first playoff race at IRP, I have Taylor Gray winning. This would be Taylor's first win. Taylor probably should have won this race last season. Was leading with, I believe, 2 to go when Jonathan Nemechek wrecked him for really no reason. I think Taylor will be back this season. I think he'll take a while to get used to the trucks, kind of get back in form. That was really the only race he was really good at that he's done so far in the Truck Series. And I don't think he'll get the win until this point of the season. And with him missing the first 3 races of the season, that's going to be a big hit because that's almost a fourth of the regular season because the Truck Series season is so small. That's almost 25% of it. I just don't think he'll be able to make it up after that on points. And without getting that win, I don't think he'll make it. But I think once the playoffs start, he'll get that win, and we'll kind of start looking at maybe a 2024 title push. Then the second race in the playoffs is the Milwaukee Mile. That's going to be a fun race. I'm excited for that one. Truck Series returning there. I have Ty Majeski winning. As I said again a few times, Ty's a very good short track racer. I have him winning 2 short tracks already this season. I think he'll get a 3rd one here. He's also from Wisconsin, so I would assume he's raced the Milwaukee Mile before. A track that I don't think a lot of guys have experience on, especially in the Truck Series where a lot of the guys are really young. I think that Ty will be able to kind of shine above them and get his 3rd win of the season and lock himself into the round of 8. At Kansas, I have Nick Sanchez winning, becoming the second rookie to win in the first round. Of course, he missed the playoffs, but Nick won at Kansas, I believe, at the end of 2021. I think this truck will take a while to get going. It's, of course, technically a new entry with Rev Racing, but it's also going to be involved with KBM. I just think they're going to kind of take a step back. Of course, KBM's moving over to Chevy. I think it'll kind of take a while to get used to it. But I think towards the end of the season, they'll really start to put results in. I think they'll really start to look at another, just like Taylor Gray, a 2024 championship push. So that eliminates 2 trucks after that, as they'll cut down from 10 to 8. I have those 2 trucks being Grant Enfinger and Matt Crafton. Crafton, I think, is just not going to be fast enough. I think he's starting to lose a lot of his pace as he gets older. And I just don't know. I don't see him winning a race. I just don't think there'll be enough without that win. And I honestly would not be surprised if this is his last season. But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if any season's Matt's last season. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he comes back for the next 5 or 6 years. As for Enfinger, I just think the GMS trucks are not going to be as great. I don't have his 2 teammates, Daniel Dye and Rajah Caruth, making it. And I just think that the other guys are going to be faster and better. At Bristol, to start the round of 8, I have Ben Rhodes winning. Ben, of course, has won at Bristol Dirt before, and is a pretty good short track racer. Just seems like a track that would come to him, and I think he'll get that win, locking himself into the round of 4. He'll be fighting for the championship yet again for the third consecutive season, 2021, 2022, and this would be 2023. At Talladega, I have Rajah Caruth winning. It's a very interesting stat about this Talladega playoff race in the Truck Series. Ever since the Truck Series playoff started way back in 2016, no playoff drivers ever won this race. 2017, it was Parker Kligerman, who wasn't running full-time. 18, it was Timothy Peters, who was subbing for, I believe, Dalton Sargent, who funding fell out and he just got released from the ride. 2019, it was Spencer Boyd winning in an upset, who of course did not make the playoffs. 2020 was Rafael Lessard, who had missed the playoffs. 2021 was Tate Fogelman, who had also missed the playoffs. And then last season it was Matt Benedetto. So I think that will continue with Rajah Caruth win. The GMS trucks are only pretty decent at the super speedways. I don't think they've ever... Oh, no, they won one way back with Grant Enfinger back in 2016. But I just think Rajah will be good at this, and I think that he's going to get that win, get his first win of the season, his first career win as well in the Truck Series. And just like, as I said, with Nick Sanchez and Taylor Gray, I think they'll kind of build up off of this win, start to look towards a very competitive 2024. I think they're probably a year away right now. I think that this season will just be a big learning year before really competing next season. Now for the penultimate race of the season at Homestead, I have Jayski winning. Jayski dominated this race last season. He started like 18th, was up front early and led the rest of the race, and won it. He, of course, won 2 races in this round last season. I have him only winning 1, but I still have him making the final 4 with his teammate, Ben Rhodes, ready to fight for the title. So I have Tanner Gray, Christian Eckes, Carson Hocevar, and Stuart Friesen missing the round of 4. Friesen, I just don't think he's going to be fast enough. I think he's going to be good, but I just don't think he's going to be quite there quite yet. I think that the Halmar Friesen trucks are good, but I don't know if he's ever going to get another true shot at the title like he had in 2019. As for Christian Eckes, I just don't think the truck's going to be there quite yet. I think he's a very talented driver, but I think it's going to take another year or 2 of development from the McAnally Hilleman racing team to kind of truly fight for a title. I just don't think Nice is going to be good enough for Carson Hocevar to make it through. I think he'll come close, but I just don't think... I haven't seen enough out of him. I've seen a lot of immaturity about coming out of him, too. I would like to see him mature up first before I would put him in, because I just think that he just seems to have these moments that you don't know what he's doing, like when he just spins out randomly or something like that. I think I'd like to see a little more maturity out of him before I would pick him to make the final 4. And then for Tanner Gray, I just think he'll be just right outside. I think his teammates are going to make it in, Corey Heim. And then Zane Smith's going to be untouchable. I think he'll easily make it in. Probably be locked in by the second last race of the season. Will probably be locked in coming to the last race before Homestead with enough points. And I just think Tanner is just a little less talented than Corey Heim is, and Corey will make it instead of him. So that makes my final four. Corey Heim, who will be in the 11, and the 3 Fords, because Thorsport is moving to Ford. So that would be the 38 of Zane Smith, the 66 of Ty Majeski, and the 99 of Ben Rhodes. Zane Smith's defending champion. Zane has never missed the Final Four in a full-time Truck Series season. He has finished as a second, and first. So he'll be going for his second title. Majeski made the Final Four last season, so did Ben Rhodes. The only guy that made it last season that I don't have making it again is Chandler Smith, who of course is moving up to Xfinity. Both of them have been very competitive. I don't remember exactly if Ben finished second or third. I think he finished second last season. And of course he won in 2021. Ty, I think, finished fourth last season. Of course, we'll be looking for his first title, and then this would be Corey's first playoff appearance and first Final Four appearance. So at Phoenix, I'm going to go with Zane Smith. It's really tough to pick against him. He has finished as second, and first, as I mentioned earlier. I just can't. I was really close between him and Ty Majeski, because Ty has run really well at Phoenix in the past. Even his first truck star was at Phoenix, and he finished top 10 in a NBC truck, which is very impressive. But I just think Zane is just on another level, and probably should be in the Cup Series, and I think he will be in 2024 instead of in the Truck Series again. But I think he'll end his Truck Series tenure with back-to-back titles and 4 straight top 2 finishes in points. So yeah, I have Zane Smith winning the title with 5 wins at Coda, Martinsville Speedway, Nashville Superspeedway, Mid-Ohio, and Phoenix. That will be his second title, as he won last year, as you can see in the picture, and he would be he joined a list of very few guys to win multiple Truck Series championships, including guys like Matt Crafton, Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague. So, of course, I have Zane Smith finishing first in points. I have Ty Majeski, as I said earlier, just barely missing out on the title. Corey Heim coming home in third. I think he's probably a year away from getting that title. And then Ben Rhodes coming home in fourth, probably wrecking himself going for a win. I think it'll be a competitive battle, just like it was this year towards the end. But I just think that Zane Smith's just really, really good right now, and he's going to be really tough to beat. Then I have Tanner Gray in a career season, finishing in 5th, with Carson Hocevar finally starting to prove that he is really, really good, and really outperforming that Nice truck, finishing in 6th. Christian Eck is having a career season in the 19 and 7th. And then Friesen, Enfinger, and Crafton, the 3 veterans. My Rookie of the Year pick is going to be Nick Sanchez with Rev Racing. I just think he'll be the most consistent out of all the rookies. There are 2 of the rookies are actually going to be missing races early on because they're not going to be 18 yet. That is Jake Garcia and Taylor Gray, who are actually missing 3 races, which is a lot. Jake's only missing 1, but I think that they just won't be able to catch up. I just think he'll be a little more consistent than Raja Caruth will, and I just don't think Daniel Dye. I think Daniel will struggle probably more than the 2 of them will. All 3 of those guys were in ARCA last season, and Nick did come out on top with the championship. With I believe it was Raja in 2nd and Daniel Dye in 3rd. I think it will be the same again this year, just with Taylor Gray and Jake Garcia added in. But I just don't think Taylor and Jake will have enough points after missing early races to fight for the title of a rookie of the year, quite like Nick Sanchez will. As for most popular driver, I do believe Haley Deegan will bring it home again. It's going to be really tough to beat her, with especially now she's going to be in Thorsport. I think she'll have a better season. I don't think she'll make the playoffs. I don't think she'll win a race again. But she is marketing a dream, and she's won both most popular drivers since she made her jump up to Xfinity. Her jump up to trucks back in 2021. She won it last year and this year, and I think she'll make it 3 in a row. Be a 3-time most popular driver winner, and possibly make the move up to Xfinity, despite not having a ton of success down the Truck Series in 2024. I want to thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time.